Hey guys, what's happening? Okay, in this video, I'm gonna do something a little different. I just thought I'd go over some of the records I've been listening to over the week. It's been a long work week for me, productive but long. And when I came home, I threw a few records on that really relaxed me. I wouldn't say they're exceptional records that everyone must listen to, like I fully recommend them, but they were enjoyable, so I just felt like talking about them. Okay, one of the first records I was throwing on was Talking Heads' Fear of Music. It has been a very, very long time since I've spun this album. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I listened to this thing in its entirety. Still my favorite song on here is Life During Wartime. Probably because I like the live version that's on the Stop Making Sense live record that I have 3 different versions of. But this is such an enjoyable album. Probably my favorite is still Speaking in Tongues. That's still my favorite Heads album. This would probably come in second because it is so enjoyable to listen to. Only problem is sometimes I have to be in a particular mood for it. Another great song here that I like a lot is Memories Can't Wait. I first heard about that song because the band Living Colour covered it, and I always loved their cover. I didn't find out till a little bit later that it was a Talking Heads song, and once I heard the Talking Heads version, loved that as well. I don't know which one I love more, but a really cool album to listen to. Really dig it. I'm really glad it's in my collection. I wish I would go to this one more, because I always get a blast, or just any Talking Heads album. I can pull any of them out and have a great time with it. But man, this was so enjoyable to listen to after a long day. It was pretty fun. Another one, The Church, Starfish. I first heard of The Church like everybody else because of the song Under the Milky Way, which came out in '88. The album came out in '88 as well. Really didn't get into this album until I joined the VC. I always liked the song Under the Milky Way, always loved the song Reptile, but unfortunately, that was all I knew about from this album. I wasn't really a big follower of it when it came out in the day. I just knew the song was on the radio. Joined the VC, I find a nice used copy of it, and end up liking every track on this album. It is a great album, to the point where it inspired me to buy a concert ticket to see The Church perform live. And they did a few cuts off of this record. That was a great show. Absolutely great show. And fell in love with this album, even bought the CD of it as well. I've seen a repress of this, which is on green vinyl. I can't really say I'm that tempted to buy it, but because I'm very happy with my used copy. I'm sure it sounds and looks great. But, I don't need to buy every reissue that's out there, and every song on this album is just magic. My favorite song on here, without a doubt, is the very last song on side 2, which closes the album, Hotel Room. It's just a dreamy, psychedelic, kind of melodic song. At least that's the way it sounds to me. I'm sure other people will probably hear it different, but that is great, and there's a great live version of the band doing it on YouTube. That is just, puts me in dreamland. It's a great song. I also like the song Antenna. I always have. It's just a great sing-along kind of melody. I really love it. I mean, like I said, can't go wrong with any of these songs on this album. A great 80s album, really, really, without actually sounding like 80s music all that much, at least to me, anyway. Just spectacular album. The cover band I'm in actually does 2 of these songs. We do Under the Milky Way and we do Reptile, which is always fun to do at shows. So yeah, The Church. And since I'm on the subject of The Church, I immediately go for this album. After listening to Starfish, I go straight to this album. So I'm sure these 2 are my favorite Church albums. This is the Blur Crusade, which came out in '82. I believe this is their 2nd album. Not really the biggest expert on the Church, just the songs I like, the albums I like. This is a French pressing of the album that has the cool little gatefold and the lyrics. I actually do like this. I even like the artwork, the picture on the front. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. I love side one of this album. Probably when I spin this, I usually just spin all of side one and just sit with a big smile on my face because I actually, and I don't know if I ever listened to the other side two. I mean, I did, of course, once before, but never went back to it because side one to me is just so fulfilling. After side one, I'm more than satisfied, and I usually put the record away because side one really does it for me. The first two songs are great. Almost With You and When You Were Mine, those are great songs, really great songs. I mean, every song on side one to me is a winner, but those two songs are really good. And it starts the album off strong. Really dig this. The one time I did see the church, they didn't play a song from this album, I believe, so bummer. So it means I gotta see him again and hopefully get lucky and hear at least one track off this album. Really love this one. So the church, the Blur Crusade, really enjoyable album. All right, another one that caught my ears' interest is from Camel, Mirage. Another album that I haven't spun in a long time. Found a really good used copy of this album that's in excellent condition. Really good. And the vinyl looks like it's never been played. Really nice used copy of this album. I love the opening song, Free Fall? Yeah, Free Fall. The opening track to me is really good. It has a nice driving rhythm with the guitar and drum accents is stabbing through that driving rhythm. So it kicks the song off well, and there's some really great, what I call epic songs that take up almost half the side of each album. One on side one, one on side two. Lady Fantasy is the one on side two. It's a real long song with 3 parts. Just a great, I call them epics. With progressive rock bands, they have these long songs that go over 10 minutes. They have a part 1, part 2, part 3 of them per song, and it's just so I call them epics or suites, or whatever you want to call them. But really enjoy this album. It's probably my favorite Camel album. I only have a few of their records, and this is the go-to one for me. Just absolutely love listening to it. I listened to it after a really long day here at work. After work, came home, threw this on the turntable, and poured myself a beer, and really, it was a nice, relaxing listen. And because it's progressive rock, it never gets boring. The song has a lot of great movement, goes from one part to another, and like I said, the epics are on here. So you hear some really interesting stuff. I really dig this album. So Camel. On the same night, I whipped this one out. It's been a while. It's Bryan Adams' Into the Fire. My favorite album from Bryan Adams is still Reckless, but this one's not bad. Like the Blur Crusade, I only like to listen to side one of this record because I don't think side two just kind of falls a little flat for me, but side one is fantastic. Heat of the Night, Into the Fire, Victim of Love, Another Day, Native Son. Oh my God, it's just just a great collection of songs. I really do love side one of this album, especially the song Into the Fire. Just a great catchy song. Well, I wouldn't say it's catchy, but it's a great melodic song. There's a great bass line in it that always hooks me and keeps me listening. Victim of Love, I always thought was a good ballad from him, and he sings it really well. Bryan Adams sings that song very well. Native Son is a nice closer to the side. It's funny because when I first heard this album, I heard it on cassette, and I checked it out from the library. And this is right after, it came out right after the Reckless album, so I was a big fan of that album. When I checked out the cassette from the library, I was kind of expecting that kind of an album, and I have to admit I was kind of disappointed when I brought it home and listened to it in its entirety. I really didn't get into it that much, and I just dismissed it as an album I didn't like. And again, when you join the VC, you give certain albums a chance, because I always like the song In the Heat of the Night, which was like the first single off this album. Always thought that was a great song, still do. And honestly, now that I've gotten older, I come to appreciate more songs on this record and realize that, well, I mean, the last time I listened to it, I was a young man. I was in my teens. But, now that I'm older, I guess I can appreciate, there's certain things I can appreciate more now than I did when I was younger. This album is definitely one of them, at least side one on this album, which I think is really, really good. I don't know how successful this album was for Bryan Adams. It just wasn't a big hit with me back in the day, but it is now. I really do love spinning this record, so it was really relaxing to listen to that. Now this one's interesting. This is from OMD, and it's a live recording from their early years on Picture Disc from the Access All Areas series. I even have one like this for Steve Hackett, which was really good. They don't give me a date in which this was recorded or a venue where it was recorded, but the track listing indicates that it's very early years of OMD, maybe before their Architecture and Morality album came out, so it might have been the album before that. Maybe Organization, I'm not sure. Like I said, there's no year on this of it when it was recorded. But the track listing messages, Mr. Reality, Bunker Soldiers, Motion and Heart, Red Frame, White Lights, Know You're Gay, Electricity. Really good recording too. It's an interesting list. I like to listen to early recordings from my favorite bands, just so you can hear what was to come later, because the albums would get better later. And really good, and they were a very young live band, so they sounded really hungry on this album, on this recording anyway. And for a picture disc, it's actually pretty good sound quality too, so a really good quality recording, live recording. Really love spinning it. I got more live recordings from OMD on vinyl, which I need to spin more. There's only so much time in the day. There's so many records I need to get to. Alright, we're going to close out with the usual for me, a Genesis record. Seconds Out. The reason I listened to this is a buddy of mine who's also a guitar player and singer. I found out he's a big Genesis fan, and he found out about me. And he says, one day we gotta jam some Genesis. And I was like, yeah, and I knew he was referring to the Peter Gabriel era of Genesis. Though that's not what this is, but most of the songs on this record is from the Peter Gabriel era. So I spun this after being kind of excited about his comment of maybe jamming some Genesis together with some other friends. So I started listening to Bert the Fifth and Cinema Show and Carpet Crawlers and Lamleys on Broadway, and I figured, well, I'll just whip this album out because all those songs are on this record, so I don't have to like switch a bunch of albums. I can just keep it on this. And this is a great live recording, really good live recording. It shows that Phil Collins was able to pull off those Peter Gabriel era songs as a vocalist. So, which makes this a very interesting album. And it's still one of my all-time favorite live records. Absolutely love this album. I bought it when I was 16. I was used to the Invisible Touch Genesis, so when I bought this and brought it home, I was like, what the fuck is this? It took me a while. I mean, I wasn't sure if I liked it or not on the first listen, but I would come to learn this with Genesis. They never give you what you think you're going to get when it's a new record or something you never heard from them before. So you have to listen to it and kind of absorb it little by little. Before you know it, you can't get the songs out of your head. It's just, and it suddenly becomes like some of the best songs you've ever heard. That's the magic of Genesis. You're not sure if you like it at first, and then after a while, after you invest some time into it, oh my, does it pay off? And yeah, this is just a classic album. Just all amazing songs on this record, especially Supper's Ready, which takes up all of side 3, because it's a song that's just over 20 minutes. And my God, a great version of Supper's Ready, though I have other live recordings of them playing the song that are equally as awesome. But really enjoyed this album. It represents my teenage years. because I discovered this when I was 16, and when everybody was listening to LL Cool J and Beastie Boys and Run DMC. I mean, I was listening to that too, don't get me wrong, but I was also listening to this. This is kind of what separated me from everybody else, at least to me. Everybody else thought I was listening to some nerdy, weird shit, but I love this. I don't know, it just kind of made me the music listener I am, made me the musician that I hope to be. Real inspiring music, and life-changing for me, actually. Anyway, that's it. That's just some of the records I've been spinning over the past week. And who knows, let me know what you think about these records, if you're familiar with them, if you like them, what your thoughts on them. I'd love to get into the discussion with you. And who knows, maybe I'll throw another one of these videos up in a week's time or so. Anyway, hope everyone's doing good. See you at the next one, folks. Later days.